so let's talk brows. Okay, so I like to keep my brows pretty thick these days, as you can see. This is actually freshly plucked. I plucked about 2 days ago. So I wanted to give you a closer look on how I do my eyebrows. I know I'm really close to you right now. I apologize if it makes you uncomfortable. I touched on how I did my brows a little bit in my Get Ready With Me. I think it was like a 5-minute or 15-minute Mommy and Me makeup, but I wanted to give you a close-up so you can see from start to finish how I do my brows. So let's get into it. So the products that we're going to be using in this video, and the products that I use every day to do my brows, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. This is the color or the shade medium brown. And the brow pencil that I'm using is also Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's number 12. Now I will say I purchased this about 2 weeks ago. For years, let me unblur myself first. Better. For years, I've been using a Sephora brow pencil. I believe that my toddler hid it somewhere, which is why I purchased this one. So please focus on the shape of the pencil, the size of the pencil. Brand doesn't matter to me. Just so happens I purchased this one. So this is what you want to look for when you are looking at, listen, I need a freaking autofocus camera. This is ridiculous. So when you are looking for a pencil, I know my eyes are crossing right now. When you're looking for a pencil, you want to look for a slant, and you want to make sure that it's not too, oh my god, this is driving me crazy. You want to make sure that it's not too thick, but not too skinny. If it's too skinny, you're going to get defined lines in your brow. If it's too thick, you're not going to get definition when you are doing underneath, if that makes any sense at all. So you want to pay attention to the size and the shape of the pencil. For me, this size is just right, because as I said, unless you want to go in between brushes, I don't have the time to do that. I like one brush that is skinny enough or thin enough to go underneath in shape, but then thick enough to fill in and make it look natural without having sharp lines in my brow. So let's get into it. I've done enough talking, right? What I usually do, I like that this pencil actually has the spoolie on the other side. So the first thing that I like to do is, I don't even know why I'm playing. Let me get my mirror. First thing I like to do is brush my brows up and then over. So I'm sorry if this looks crazy. And that's, I just did my skincare routine. So that's, oh, that's actually glitter. I was gonna say that's oil on my face. It's not snot. Zoom into myself just a little bit. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I brush my brows up, and then as I get to my arch, I brush them down. So this is just setting how I want my brows to lay, or how I want them to look as far as the shape. So again, up. Here's my arch, so I'm gonna go down. Not too bad, right? I then take the brush, I dip it in directly but lightly, so I kind of push it in, and then I do the sides. But then to make sure that I don't have too much on the brush, oh, I'm sorry, you can't even see what I'm doing. I kind of wipe it off on the sides because I want to make sure that I have enough on the brush, but not too much to where it's going to be dark the first place that it lands. So this is where you'll want to pay attention. I'm putting the mirror directly underneath. So you'll see me looking down into my mirror. Now I take the angle, so the longest point is pointing to my nose. So I take the angle and I start underneath and kind of draw the line, because that's how I want my brow to look. From there, I do shading and filling in. And I apologize if I'm not using the right wording. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. But I start off with drawing the shape of my brow, and then I go in and kind of fill in where it's a little sparse. I use light strokes and I try to keep them, what's the wording I need to use? I want to make sure that it looks natural. So I use light strokes, and it's kind of just like filling in the blanks. Now, of course, because I'm filming this, it's not coming out as clean as it usually does, but I promise it usually comes out cleaner when I do my brows. Now, a lot of girls, they like to go in after they do this, and they'll use concealer underneath to kind of make it more clean. I used to do that when I had more time on my hands. These days I don't, because I am a busy mom of 2, and also because in the mornings I wake up at 5 and I have to be out of my house no later than 7 because I have about a 35 to 40 minute drive to work. So the last thing that I really want to spend time on is getting additional products just to make my brows look perfect. And I also find that this does a good enough job at doing that, as long as I am careful. I usually don't even spend this much time on a brow, but I feel like because I'm recording it, I have to. But that's pretty much how I do my brows. So I will show you how I do it on the other brow. You let me know if you can see a difference. Hopefully you can't. I like to keep it looking as natural as possible, but I want it to also look like my brows are shaped nicely. I mean, I think they are. I get lots of compliments on my eyebrows. Okay, so again, I'm gonna take the product, dip it directly in, and then dip the sides, wipe off the excess. Just wipe off a little bit. All right, so if you're looking at it this way, the point is going to go towards my nose. Try this again. So I'm gonna go underneath. I'm gonna start at the tail. I usually start in the middle of my brow or closer to the tail and then kind of work my way inwards with my strokes. So I'm gonna start here. This is about the middle. That came out really dark, but the good thing about you starting at one point and then kind of filling in is that as you're filling in, first of all, you can wipe product off as I did on the sides, but as you're filling in, you can go back to that dark spot and kind of brush it up. So you're taking away the darkness, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, keep watching and I'll show you how I kind of correct that, because you do not have to start over, I promise. Now, since I started in the middle, I'm going back into the inside just to kind of connect that line so it doesn't look like I have a random line that started out of nowhere. So I'm going to that dark spot and I'm kind of pulling it up. So I'm pulling some pigment up. You also have the spoolie on the other end if you have a similar brush. So you could also use the spoolie to kind of take away some of that darkness. Now, as you are doing your brows, do not forget about the insides. I absolutely save them for last because if I do have any more color or pigment left on the brush, I don't like to put color there. Very little, if any at all, just because I like that to be the lightest part and then a little darker as I get come closer to the tails. So I'm just gonna go back over that dark spot just a little more. Take my spoolie actually and brush some of the darkness away. No problem. And that is pretty much how I do my brows on a daily basis. Before being introduced to this awesome pomade that is Anastasia Beverly Hills, I was using eyeshadow. There are so many ways that you can improvise with doing your brows, but you can use like a brown eyeshadow. If you're interested, I can definitely do a video using that type of product as well. They also have, what was I using before? Oh, pencil. you could use a pencil. Same process for me, no matter what I'm using. If I'm using a powder, if I'm using a pomade, if I'm using a pencil, I start in the middle or towards the tail, and then I kind of do light feathery strokes to make it look more natural. Hopefully this helped you in doing a quick but perfect brow. If you had any questions, if you wanted me to do another brow look, shoot the request down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.